There's a new book on the shelves, The Dot Spot. Now, this book is written by one of my favorite people, Dorothy Black, and she's here to tell us all about it. Hello.
Hey.
You have a book.
Look at that, I do.
It's amazing.
It is.
Well, I'm glad that you know. Now, this book follows your trials and tribulations when it comes to sex and relationships. Now, I'm not going to ask you why you wrote this book because I think we all know why.
Why?
Because you're a sex and relationship gal.
Hey, you need to do it.
You need to put your information in a book so the rest of us can learn from you.
Right.
Tell me, which one of the stories in this book sticks out the most for you?
I think I don't have one particular one, but I think kind of revisiting the first time I had sex with a guy that I've called Krog in the story.
And you were 19 the first time you had sex?
Yeah, I was 19. I've been told that apparently that was quite late.
I don't know who told you
that.
But
anyway. But yeah, I think why it sticks out for me is that it helped me kind of look back at what had happened and be quite look at it quite kindly. It was actually like an amazing sort of experience with an amazing person, because you know your first person that you have sex with tends to really solidify a lot of things for you going forward and change, or you know influence how you feel about sex in your body and how you move forward with that. And so it was such a great experience actually, and he was a great guy, so that kind of sticks out because it was a good revisiting.
Now, I was at your book launch and someone asked what three things. What was the exact question? Was what three?
What three things made the biggest differences for me in this whole sort of like journey on with sex and love and relationships, and it was a great question. I think that was basically the gist of it. But the three things were therapy, absolutely, and BDSM and Tantra. So being introduced to those sexual expressions and learning about the communities and the people and how people operate in those environments were all hugely instrumental in how I dealt with my own sexuality and the questions that I answered for myself, and the people that taught me and showed me new things, and hugely instrumental. Yeah.
What about BDSM were you able to relate to and translate into your own sexual life?
So I think my first experiences of the BDSM community, and I use it so broadly because it is such a broad term. It really it's a bit of a misnomer, really. The community itself is just massive, and Kinksters aren't necessarily would be considered part of the community. Anyway, so for me it was who I had met and how those conversations were held. So the first BDSM guys that I'd met spoke about sex and their wants and needs and desires, what they were looking for, very openly. And the idea was in the community that there is a lot of openness. There's no shyness, there's no shame about what I like, what you like, whether we can help each other on that. And if you can't, well, you move on and you find somebody else who can. So I really enjoyed and really learned from the freedom to be open and honest about what you like, and to hear openly and honestly what other people like, and then not to get too enmeshed or take it personally if you're not what somebody else is looking for, or they're not what you're looking for. So it's a real sharing. I like the idea of sharing information and then doing something with that or not, and I learned that mostly from there.
What's the sauciest story in these
pages?
In
the book? You know, it's I'll tell you why because that question is so tricky, because it's not, you know, my kind of saucy is probably not somebody else's kind of saucy. So I don't think there are like a lot of saucy stories in the book. I'd love to say that it's just bursting with 50 Shades of Grey, you know, madness. But it's not. It's actually, it's fairly just lots of full of common sense and stories that got me there. So I suppose it depends what flips your lid. Maybe some of the BDSM stuff will, maybe some of the like relationship stuff will. So I don't really feel like there are major saucy stories in there. If you read any saucy stories, you let me know if they were saucy or not. So
I think
can use
there
that
are saucy stories in there. I think that your version of saucy is
probably
not on the same level as
probably
mine.
not on the same level. No, probably not on the same.
What do you hope people take away from the book?
What do I hope people take away? I really hope that people take away the idea that they can play with and experiment with the bravery around stepping into who they want to be and what they're like. So to own their desires, to own their needs, self-care around that, and to not be shy about it, and to start playing with the idea of being honest and open and being with people, choosing to be with people who they can be open and honest with. That's what I would like.
Well, there you have it. The Dot Spot. Take a step into Dorothy Black's life and pick up the book. It's at all good bookstores and bad ones too.